Welcome to the Tesla Truck Channel, and it is 2020. We're not going to see anything new for the next few weeks. I'm hoping though that we'll get some more Cybertruck news. But in the meantime, we can always look at what from a company by the name of Atlis Motor Vehicles. And I just wanted to be clear that this company is in no way, shape, or form a viable competitor to the Cybertruck or Tesla in the way that Rivian's truck is or Bollinger. These are all just proof of concept vehicles, and all the renders that we see on their website are essentially that, just renders. These are not production. These aren't even vehicles that have been assembled. These are just things that they're putting on the website to promote what they have in mind and trying to see if they can get more potential investors onto the company. So why don't we go ahead and just take a look at the truck. And this is the front page when you get there. Actually, I should show the front page here. This is what it looks like. This is the website here. On the website, the first thing you'll notice is this big bulky front end picture of their pickup, and it has a very traditional styling. The look of it is what you would consider like aggressive looking. Has a pretty high stance right here. On the bottom left, you'll have an invest button, and on the bottom right, you have a reserve. So, and going down, they have specs and features of the truck that we'll go ahead and look into eventually. But let's just scroll through their website and see what they have here. Here's some interesting numbers that they provided, right? So 500-mile range, 5 seconds 0 to 60, 120 mile per hour top speed, and a promised 15-minute charge time. That's extremely optimistic, but we'll see as we look through their features to see how they'll plan on getting there. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and let me see. Let's just click on a few buttons to see what they got here. Okay, so let's watch this video, and hopefully we will see what they have to say.
The average person will spend 140,000 hours at work. We want to make it a little bit better. The Atlas truck is for those who work hard. The builders, the farmers, the providers, the fleet owners, and the weekend warriors. We've got work to do, and more important things to think about than this and this. We know the future is electric, but electric vehicles require compromise. Compromise on range, compromise on capability, and compromise on experience. At Atlis Motor Vehicles, we believe you should compromise on nothing. Last year, over 2,000 investors just like you said they believed in our vision and supported us with over $1 million in investments. With that funding, we designed our vehicle and assembled the modular chassis. But at Atlis Motor Vehicles, it's not just about creating another automotive company. We are creating a family of products to improve the way you live and work. With your continued support over the next few years, we will create over 5,000 jobs, set up production right here in the United States, and launch the XT pickup truck. Together, we can build a better future. Invest today.
Alright, and that is their promotional video. Looks like they're just trying to gather as many people as they can to help them develop this vehicle. In the short video that you saw there, I also saw the platform of their truck. It looks something like this on the website. Let me see if we can show it. Essentially, it's just like a skateboard. So this is pretty much the chassis, the frame that the vehicle is going to build on. So that's really all they have right now for us to see in terms of their vehicle. Supposed to be starting at a price of $45,000. That's a pretty good starting price point for trucks, especially a truck of this size. I think they're aiming for a full-size truck rather than a mid-size. and that's about $5,000 more than what the Tesla Cybertruck is starting at. You won't be able to see all of their trims and what they offer yet at this time because the website doesn't have that information, but it looks like the standard features are going to be 4-wheel drive independent traction motors at each wheel, so and the independent suspension, it's air suspension as well, so that makes it easier for you to adjust. And if there's anything where on the bed that has varying weight on certain corners, at least the air suspension can adjust and account for that. So that is a feature that seems to be pretty standard with a lot of the um, electric trucks coming out now. Standard features like regenerative braking, a front trunk. Oh, here's something really interesting too. So it looks like they're trying to aim for a 1 million mile life. And I'm not sure if this is just the battery or a battery and the drivetrain or just the vehicle in general, but that is a bold promise. I hope they can find a way to make that happen. We know that Tesla is working on a 1 million mile battery, and we know that their motor now are going to be a 1 million mile motor. So for competitor, they definitely have to step up their game to at least promise that kind of a figure and number to match with Tesla. So I praise them for wanting to do the same thing. One of my favorite features will always be, a spray and bed liner. If you see my previous video, I'm always griping about the fact that trucks don't have a spray and bed liner standard. I mean, that's a pretty damn important piece of important protection for your bed, and it should come standard with every truck. All right, let's go ahead and look at the vehicle so that we can see how it compares. Because okay, so this is what we saw on the first page. It's a very standard looking truck. I mean, there's nothing revolutionary about its design and look. So why don't we go ahead and scroll through right here. This is, once again, these are renders, these are not actual vehicles. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We have this bed is about 6.5 foot. Very standard bed size for a lot of trucks. Some trucks come with a slightly shorter bed, maybe like 6 foot, 5.5, if they have a massive crew cab. But this one looks like it has a crew cab and a 6.5 foot bed. Later on in the video, we'll look at some other features that this truck is promising, or at least what the company wants to do. But for now, looking at the bed, we see that one of the things that we really want to avoid having on the bed are these wheel wells, mostly because it does take up space here. On the Cybertruck, the bed is just nice, straight and flat. No wheel wells obstructing storage space. Back panel, a glass right here, looks like a giant piece of glass. And I'm always in favor of them making good use of this glass by allowing it to slide down and giving you full access to the trunk. I'm not sure what they're going to do with their truck, but the Toyota Tundra has that feature, and it's a feature that I hope more manufacturers continue to consider when they're building their truck. And here is the front right side. This is what they're proposing. This LED light looks pretty cool. It's more like a bunch of little lights together rather than one big one. And from this view here, this design to me, it's essentially like every truck that's currently on the market right now put together. Like if you took an F-150, a Silverado, a Ram, and a Nissan Titan, and even some, to some extent, maybe possibly like Tundras and all that, and you put them all together, I feel like this is what this front end would look like. It's distinct on its own, but in terms of standing out, it really just looks like every other vehicle's combined together to get this front end. So really nothing revolutionary about it. They're going for a very trusted, well-aged design that has basically stood the test of time. And once again, here's what we're seeing here. You see, it very standard. This is a very nice looking render as well, though. This front profile right here, obviously it's not as aerodynamic as the Cybertruck, but I'm not sure if that was their primary concern. And once again, cool looking render, decent looking truck. I mean, there's really not much to complain about the way it looks. I mean, it looks like what we all expect a truck to look like, and then it looks like it should be um, what most people would probably want and prefer the truck to look like. So I'm not gonna knock them on that design. They have 300-mile range. It looks like their low end, 400 their mid, and 500 is their extended range. Here are the numbers, and now here are the capabilities that are very different from what the current electric truck um, manufacturers are aiming for. Now these guys are saying we have so many different variations in trim level and capability on our truck. We're going to show you the numbers, and here's what they're saying. They have some with towing capability of 6,000 going to 10,000 and 14,000. We all know that that's the Cybertruck's max number on the tri-motor, and all the way up to 17,000. And this is more like closer to medium duty category right here, right? And this is just with like the regular hitch. Now if you have a fifth wheel and a gooseneck, look at this, look at these numbers. These are like 20,000, 25, 30, and 35,000. We're talking about like super duty dually level towing. So that's massive right there. And the payload, lowest in is 1,000. That's pretty disappointing on a truck, to be honest. Even 2,000 on an electric truck is probably not even all that great. As we get closer to these numbers, we're seeing that the payload can go all the way from 1,000 to 5,000, and the 3,500 right here is essentially what the Cybertruck looks like it's gonna promise. Obviously, if you have a single rear wheel, getting 5,000 payload is probably impossible. So these are gonna be this number is for dual rear wheels, or dually as they call them. The ground clearance on this one, it is air suspension, so it can go from 12-inch to 15, which is neat. It's slight, like an inch lower than what the Cybertruck can raise up to, but 1 inch isn't, that matter in this case. Okay, let's see what else they're showing. This is just a close-up render of what the bed would look like. There we go. So, you know what? I should say that this thing does come with power outlets that are capable of doing like 120 and 220 volt, kind of like what Tesla is promising. And the interesting thing is, it has this front trunk that has a fold-down lid. So most trucks would have the tailgate right in the back, but this one has the front tailgate as well. And I guess that's a neat feature to have if it maximizes utility. I think that if other people have a way of putting that into the truck, why not? I mean, front and back, it's pretty awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior details, because they have some really neat looking ideas that I think are worthwhile. Okay, so here is the front console, and this is what you're looking at here. The main screen, it doesn't look that big, to be honest. This size, I don't know, maybe like 13 to 15 inch, probably slightly less than 15 inches. It's actually not that big. But the cool thing is, you have these two monitors here that act like the front, the side view mirrors. Now, you have one here, obviously, for the left, one for the right. Imagine this, right? In the previous picture, we saw that they didn't have a side mirror, and that was one of the things that we all speculate on what Tesla is going to do on the Cybertruck, because they too also do not have a side mirror. But look how they integrated these monitors here. This to me is a very, very brilliant, like this is brilliant right here. You don't have to like move your head back, left or right. You just look here and see and get a good view. And obviously when you're turning, you're still gonna turn your head, but man, to have this available here all the time, so your eyes can still be on the road, but you can kind of like glance over and take a look on the side. I really think that this might be one of all the things that I'm seeing on the truck, this was my favorite feature right here. 40-20, 40 split bench seating, pretty standard. Looks like it's probably seat up to like 5 people or 6. Interesting thing about their display is that it also has knobs right here, so it's not full touch. It also has knobs, so that way you can easily just turn if you want it. or if you're wearing gloves, it's probably easier instead of just taking it off and pressing on the screen. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in on some of these pictures to give you a better idea of what they're proposing. This one is, I think these can all be folded up to become a six-seater, but it's a very common looking interior. I'm not, in terms of the upholstery and the seating arrangement, there's nothing unique about it. Okay, here we go. Now they got these three like cup holders. This looks more like what Chevy's doing on their Silverado. So I think this inspiration comes from that right there. But it's, you know, that's interesting. They don't have just three up front. They have three cup holders in the back too. So they're expecting their guys to just like be holding a ton of water. Oh, here's a closer look of their knobs right here. So when you're controlling things, you're able to use the knobs and press buttons instead of just, you know, taking off your gloves all the time. If it's one of those, if it's like Tesla and you're in a work truck and you got gloves on, this will probably help a little bit. Here we go. So we saw their truck, right? But it looks like what they're trying to do is cover a huge range of utility and service vehicles. So they have a flatbed right here, a service body, and a dually. So let's go ahead and just take a look at each of them. Okay, here we go. So this is what they're trying to do here for those people who need this kind of a flatbed for loading heavy equipment. This is a potential option that you can get with their XT pickup. It looks like they just have the standard crew cab and they just put this bed on with really not much of a change. But look at the ad. Well, you know, this is kind of like what you would if you were an electrician or plumber. You can get this right here. Okay, and this is their bad boy right here. So this is their Super Duty level pickup truck. It is a dually with an 8-foot bed. A max gross towing right here. Oh my God, 35,000 pounds. 5,000 pound payload. Trailer hitch towing 17,000. And so that is a very capable vehicle. You're talking about a vehicle that compares to like a Ford F-250 or 350 dually, Ram, you know, 3500. Really, they're really trying to hit like a whole segment of pickup trucks. And that leads me to ultimately like what my concern is, right? So they're trying to say that it's coming in 2020, and as we both know, it is 2020 and these are still all renders. They're promising 15 minutes of charge time, and take a look at their website. They're saying that that's why we are creating an advanced charging station and power bank ecosystem. It's everything charging should be: fast, affordable, plug and charge, and is designed to scale. So here we have a company, a startup company that is trying to get as many investors in as possible, but they don't really have anything on the wheels right now other than the skateboard platform. And they're promising a 15-minute charge time on their battery technology and vehicle technology, right? And on top of that, they're saying we're going to create an ecosystem for charging stations and power banks. Basically, there's a lot of promises here that I don't feel like they're capable of delivering anytime soon. So I don't really take this particular brand all that seriously in terms of Cybertruck competition. Anyone can put a lot of things on their website and say, okay, we're promising this, we're promising that. But until we see something substantial, these are all just his writing. This is just something that he's trying to do, and I hope that they do bring to market something of value. This truck, if it does come to market within the next 2 years, it will be a miracle. And and I mean that seriously. Like if they're able to get it in the timeline of like 2022, with everything they're promising, it would be a miracle. Let's look at the battery technology to see what they're proposing. So they're trying to go with a new type of battery cell, this flat cells rather than the standard like 18650 or the 2170. And I don't know who they have. There's nothing on this website that suggests where they're gonna source the battery from, but obviously it's gonna have to be a third party. They're not gonna be able to scout the kind of battery that they're suggesting on their own. I mean, that's just not realistic. All these promises, and I'm just not even sure where they're gonna get. Other options that they're promising: an air compressor. Now, at first I thought that they copied the idea of an air compressor from the Cybertruck, but it turns out the air compressor was actually mentioned in one of their video like almost a year ago. So they actually already had thought about that. So credits to them for first starting that. Bed length, you got 6.5 foot to 8 foot bed. 8-foot bed is a standard option with the dually. Power outlets 120 volt 20 amp and 240 volt at 40 amp power. We know Tesla promises the same thing, we just don't know what their current rating is. We don't know if it's 20 amp on the 120 volt or 40 amp on the 240. If it gets anywhere near 40 amp on 240, I mean, that's a massive amount of power to use on your equipment. I don't quite know what to make of this particular company. They're promising a lot of things, and so I just thought I'd make a video to see what other truck manufacturers are thinking about. And if they do bring a vehicle anywhere near this capable to the market to challenge Tesla, I welcome it. I hope to see more competition in the marketplace, because who knows, 10-15 years down the line, when you're tired of the Cybertruck, you definitely want to have more options, and not just getting the Cybertruck version number 10 or 15 or whatever. And if someone does something really great and provide all the features, the payload number, the towing number, the range, the fast charging, let's hope and pray that they can bring a vehicle like that to for us to buy. So let me know what you guys think.